What's up, everyone? What a cold, cold, cold autumn in South Africa this year. Very cold autumn in South. How you all doing? How you all doing? Today is Thursday, almost at the end of the week, and Thursdays are one of my favorite days of the week because it's honestly an in-between type of day. You're almost done with the week and you're almost you are almost about to enjoy your weekends, basically. So I love Thursdays because I feel like there's no pressure on a Thursday. There's no pressure on a Thursday. You can just enjoy the fact that tomorrow is Friday and that's the end of a week, and then you'll have 2 days to rest, Yeah, this week was very hectic. This week I created a space for me to enjoy some shows, which I don't normally do. I don't like watching shows or videos. I honestly don't. Because I feel like our lives are so busy. We are so busy that sitting down for a show is like taking up time from a different activity that you should be doing. So, or maybe that's just my thinking around it. But I think for 2 nights this week already, I have just, allowed myself to unwind and watch a show. And I was watching Chosen. I don't know if you guys heard of it. I was watching Chosen, and it was so beautiful. I think I'm at episode 6 right now, and what the episode that touched me a lot was the episode of, where Simon Peter went into the water, and he was so overwhelmed by life, by what's going to happen to him if he doesn't, pay off his taxes. And he was going through a lot, but he was so resourceful in terms of, Simon Peter was a different character, and I love the person that he is or was. So he was on the boat with other people, with some friends that helped him to catch some fish, because he had to catch some fish before the next day, and they couldn't get any. And then the next day arrived and they couldn't get any fish, and they went closer to the shore and they saw a man speaking to a couple of people, and he was teaching them, and it was Jesus teaching a few people. As they sat and listened to him, Peter in his boat with, I think, James, they arrived, and Jesus acknowledged them and asked if he can stand on their boat and continue teaching, because they had a story. And Peter was just so tired and he was so over it. And Peter said, "Yes, you're welcome." No, he didn't say yes, you're welcome, but eventually, But the thing that struck me most was like, Peter was at that point about to give up, and throw in the towel. And on the 11th hour he got help, and Jesus said, throw your net in on that side, and he threw it in, and then he caught so I think that was like more than what the boat could hold. There was so much fish, and that episode really got tears in my eyes because it was so overwhelming to see the beauty of that moment where Simon Peter was happy, to see the smile on his face. He was so happy, and he went to Jesus and he said, anything he wants, I will do it. And the most beautiful moments in that video was when Jesus told him, follow me. You know, that was so sweet. And he followed him. And yeah, a group of people followed him. I don't know how they lived that time where you just follow the leader. It's like how the kids in schools would have one leader of the group and then the rest just follows. Yeah, it was like that, but they were walking around a lot and, you know, living life together, teachings and, you know, but oh my gosh. That was a beautiful episode. Truly, I tell you, that was a beautiful episode. And it made me realize that Jesus is a very sweet and kind and loving person, you know, and he genuinely came for people who had to be saved mentally, you know, who had to be saved from circumstances, who had to be saved from oppression, from being oppressed, who had to be saved from sickness and all of those. And he really had that one purpose in mind, to save people and to get them to follow him, and to also make fishers of men, you know, and to make sure that enough people hear about the good news of Jesus. And it's amazing how his life was on earth, and we don't often sit still and think about the beauty of that time when Jesus was literally, before all the noise, you know, but the beauty of that time when he was walking the earth and he was about to, you know, publicly perform miracles and publicly speak, and oh my word, it's amazing. And I think about that quite often, because I think as people we literally don't realize that life is not about what we currently making it about. Life is literally about following Jesus, being saved, giving your heart to Christ, and living in alignment with him, wanting the connectedness. I mean, if you look at Jesus' lifestyle during that time, I mean, we're living in an era where lifestyle is important for people. The car you drive, the house you live in, the area you live in, the neighborhood, the clubs you go to, the community you belong to, the community you're a part of. You know, those have all become, they've all become metrics for some reason. The meals you eat, is also a metric for, you know, how valuable you are. But when we looked at Jesus, the most important person on earth, superior to everything, He did not even worry about attaining wealth. He did not even worry about being seen in the synagogues or being about obtaining power and being of importance. And like the Pharisees were, or like the Romans were in their time. He was absolutely not like that. It's like his assignment that he came for is way different than anyone else could have understood, you know. And I know my English is all over the place. I'm Afrikaans, but it's really amazing. It's truly amazing how Jesus lived and how beautiful his life was, and the innocence and the commitment to God, like that level of that for me, that life for me is it. Because you know what, at my age, 38 years old, about to turn 39 in 2 months, I'm honestly at that point, I don't envy or put on a pedestal people who got the material right, who got the who got the cars, who got the houses, whose kids goes to the fancy schools, who got the money. I don't look up to those people. It's like you're just a person. But I look up to people who really and truly and honestly, who have figured out the Jesus life, not in the way we've been brought up to believe, but like in an inexplicable way, in an unimaginative way, just living your life wanting to please God, living your life wanting to tell a lot of people about Him and about how beautiful He is, and not caring about money. That's what I want to say. Not caring about money. That's it. I need to take my daughter to ballet.